Hello everyone, this is Persephone filming a different style of video, and today we will talk about women and the BBC network. After a lot of thinking and about 100 requests asking me what do I think about the BBC News, and I say the BBC News because we are on YouTube and I have to find a way to bypass the censorship. So is BBC delivering the best news for women? Do all women prefer it over other types of news? And what is my personal opinion? We're going to keep things as YouTube appropriate as possible. So I'm going to tell you my honest opinion as someone who has been contacted by thousands of guys who told me that my wife watched the BBC News once and then never had any interest in my 3, 4, 5 inches, and also by a significant percentage of sissies who say now that after watching the BBC News once, they have become very dedicated when it comes to being fans of that specific channel, that they only watch, serve, and crave BBC. So from my experience, there are different types of people doing things for different types of reasons. And reason number one is that, as much as I don't like to say that, the traditional institution of marriage has failed people. If you ask me, and I'm getting prepared for all the hate I'm going to get, I think that marriage didn't work for thousands of years when it comes to both parties being sexually satisfied, but because women did not have the means to live or to express their sexuality, they just stuck around and the men usually cheated. I mean, there are cultures where the man having a mistress was actually considered the norm, and it still is in some places. So it's very common in specific cultures and religions for women to get married at a very young and inexperienced age without ever having watched BBC News or any kind of big channel news. So usually what happens is that the, in many cases, white husband suggests they open the marriage, and the woman has been chronically unsatisfied because, as we all know, the minimum medically normal penis size starts from 5 inches. So if you have under 5 inches, you cannot satisfy women. That is a fact of life, even if you call me degenerate, Satanist, Antichrist, size queen, and all of the other things that you said, it doesn't change. If you don't believe me, go to any store selling products for female sexual pleasure and look for toys that are under 5 inches. You won't find any. You won't even find 5 inches. I managed to find one that was 7 inches after a lot of effort. And they told me that if I want something smaller, I have to make a custom order. So no one needs your 5 inches or even worse below that. So you have this wife that she has been getting the short end of the stick for literally decades, and all of a sudden one day BBC News comes into her life to show her the true light. Obviously deprived people will become addicted quite fast, you know? I mean, it's like you've been starving for decades and then you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and you're just going to eat and eat and eat to fulfill the decades of hunger. That is one reason. Another reason is women who were always size queens, which is a smaller category but significant. I think we should mention it. And over time, something that people do not know and I want to tell you is that we can measure the size of the male genitals, but also we can measure the size and the length and the width of female genitals. You can go to an obstetrician and they can check. So with age, with extra weight, with childbirth, if it's like vaginal childbirth, but even cesarean section in some cases, women who want it big need bigger and bigger over time. This is just female anatomy. So if a woman gave birth to 2 children, maybe even 7 inches are not going to be enough for her. And then it's extremely difficult to find something that is not BBC and is 9, 10, 11 inches. And again, from what I've seen and what I've observed, men who have over 9 inches, regardless of their race, are actually very, very popular with women. Another thing is that culturally, it became very promoted through adult media and movies and stuff. So anything that is new and exciting and forbidden and it has a lot of controversy becomes sexualized. So women are curious. I mean, even if you see it from religions, it's the woman who always tries to get the forbidden fruit, talks to the snake, and so on. So women see it in adult media and they're like, wait a minute, I haven't tried this one. And in this one, white men shot themselves in the foot on this one because they created social media. Do you know that all the creators of social media were pretty much white incels or white males who had difficulty socializing with women in real life? So by doing that, you gave direct access to BBC to women from all over the world. So of course, once they try it, they won't go back to white media. And you have only yourself to blame. When a woman was living in a village with 5 donkeys and 10 guys, she had to choose from one of those 10 guys, and she didn't even know BBC existed. And that wasn't that long ago. That was like 50 years ago. There are people even still alive from that era. And now a woman can make a Tinder account and request for 9 inches and above only, and she's going to have so many suitors. So who's going to bother with your 5 inches? Nobody. Between you and me, if you want to be honest with yourself, you would have done the same if you were a woman. So in that sense, the sissies who say, I only want BBC, are way more honest than the guys who say size doesn't count, right? That is another reason. A more important reason, in my opinion, is it became a lot more mainstream to have interracial relationships and interracial dating. In the past, even if a woman wanted to watch BBC News, she would be shunned from her community, she would have difficulty having access to a lot of things in modern life because she would be considered someone abnormal. Now with Hollywood and all of those questionable media, having almost always a pair of a black man and a white woman or an Asian woman or a mixed black man and so on, it's becoming mainstream. Even in my family and my extended family, we have women who are watching BBC News actually. And this is something, I don't know if I've said that, so even people like my father who are paleo-conservatives, like they saw it once, they saw it twice, they don't care anymore. You know, especially if the man is a decent guy and he has a good job and he treats the woman well, no one is going to care. Except from the people who became incels, but these people had 3 inches, so they were supposed to have a different path to start that with, you know. Different path, vasectomy, chastity, serving a goddess, you know it. If you have been watching my channel, you know it. If you haven't, you will learn soon enough. Last but not least, is it superior? I believe that, again, different people are going to tell you different things. If you ask my honest opinion, because there are people who are asking me about that, I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about this type of question. You know me, if you have been around my channel even for 1 month, race never stopped me when it comes to anything, even when I was dating Asian men and I was getting so much hate from that. And it was funny that Asian men also hated me for dating Asian men. It was like, oh, you date a Korean guy, he did something bad. If you dated a Japanese guy, that wouldn't have happened. Or, oh, we're Chinese. These Koreans and these Japanese people were our slaves for thousands of years and Chinese superior. And I was into some kind of Asian people war as some kind of an object. So anyway, these things didn't stop me. So if I wanted to date a black guy or a half black guy, that would not be an issue. Like, I'm not the type of person that I'm going to say, oh my God, what are racist people going to think? That being said, I'm not looking for random BBC based on size. Like, if someone has 8 inches or 9 inches or 10 inches, good for them, but I have to like the person as a person to bother. Like, it would have to be a person who has the BBC part, but also has other parts that we can actually have fun with, like common interests, a relationship, someone who's okay with my lifestyle and my jobs and so on. If that happened, if there was a guy like that, of course I would give it a shot. But if it comes to something like random and big, there are toys that they are random and big and they're better than most men, so I'm looking for a lot more than that in my life. I know that this disappoints a lot of people who fantasize me meeting random BBC guys to film content and upload it, but my channel was never a democracy. I do what I like, and if you like to fantasize me this way, I'm fine, have fun with me in your fantasies, but in real life, meeting random people for any kind of such activity, especially in our dystopia, is very dangerous. It's very, like, it can backfire in so many ways, and for me it's a turn off. The more I have random encounters with people online, the more I appreciate personalized connection. So I think this is my opinion about women and BBC. I think it's a multifactorial thing. As for the sisters who like BBC, I believe that when you are actually deprived and when you have watched a lot of specific types of adult content that feature BBC, it's normal to want it and it's normal to try it. So you should be doing everything as consenting adults, taking precautions, not putting yourself in harm's way in any way. Like if I see people and the things that they are sending me, you would be shocked how they're literally asking to be killed or asking for trouble. Don't do stuff like that. And if you want BBC, we are in the 21st century, go out and get it.